Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people who's basically there to figure out. There are some people that are there to eliminate bullshit jobs, but realize their own jobs are bullshit because they're not actually going to do it. They're just box tickers.
Bullshit jobs I define as a job where even the person doing the job secretly believes the job really shouldn't exist. But nonetheless, part of the conditions of employment is that you have to pretend that it does. It's important to distinguish between bullshit jobs and shit jobs. Mostly when you say bullshit jobs, people at first assume you mean jobs that just you don't really want to have. Jobs where they don't treat you well, jobs where they don't pay you well, jobs where you work under difficult or humiliating or onerous conditions. And most of the jobs that are shit jobs actually aren't bullshit jobs.
Most shit jobs are really important for society. I'll give you an example of a shit job. Literally going in and draining septic tanks and sewage pipes. Where your job is literally to plunge into the shit of society. That may be a shit job, but holy fucking hell, if you didn't do that shit job, we would all be fucked. That is not just that is an incredibly important job. A literal shit job, but a job that we need you to do. Honestly, one of the most important jobs of society. So thank you for doing that job. Bullshit jobs are not that.
Jobs that oppress you are jobs like cleaners or ditch diggers or nurses. Servants of various kinds who are mistreated, at least know they're doing something. A bullshit job is actually kind of the opposite of that. A bullshit job, you're often given a lot of money, you're treated very well, with a great deal of respect, often seen as the person in your family who most made something of yourself. But at the same time, you're secretly haunted by the knowledge that you're not actually doing anything, that if your job didn't exist at all, the world either would change in no way, or even might become a slightly better place. This is one of the great mysteries of our time, as far as I'm concerned, because we usually associate make-work, stupid made-up jobs with state socialism. In the Soviet Union, they used to say, well, we pretend to work and they pretend to pay us. They'd make up jobs which are completely unnecessary. That makes sense because they had an ideology of full employment. On the other hand, capitalism, that's exactly the thing that isn't supposed to happen. A private firm would never hire someone and put out good money to someone who they don't actually need. But in fact, if you talk to people who work for large corporations, they do it all the time. How does that happen? I think part of it has to be explained by political pressure. And in a way, just as in the Soviet Union, there was a central directive saying, we need full employment. They didn't say, therefore make up bullshit jobs, right? But they didn't say, don't do it. In a similar way, we have pressure from both the left and the right to create jobs all the time. On the one hand, you have the left saying we need public works, we need more money being given to consumers to stimulate the economy. On the right, they're saying give money to capitalism.
How many non-profit fucking jobs exist out there and just grift? And it's just a self-licking popsicle of, oh, we're the homeless organization of Los Angeles. We need to do a fundraiser. 40% of our money that we spend is on the development director and fundraisers. And it's like, we need an executive director making $400,000 a year. And before you know it, the entire organization is just raising money, standing next to people that are trying to do work with the homeless. But it's just grand self-licking popsicle of bullshit. Instead of just having government workers who go out and when they see a homeless person, go and give them the help they need and put them in a permanent supportive housing and give them mental health treatment and get them, employment. And, we don't have jobs like that, right? Those jobs were cut.
But the one thing left and right totally agree on is the solution to all problems is more jobs. But they never say jobs that actually do something, jobs that are worthwhile in any way. It's just assumed that if jobs are created, they will necessarily serve a purpose. And if you don't specify that, if you don't have a self-conscious policy of trying to make sure that jobs actually do something, you're going to end up with useless make work. It's just going to happen. A lot of bosses, people who hire people, just get very angry at this, at me about this. They're about the only people who get angry at this premise. They say, look, I would never hire someone if they didn't serve a purpose. This is just stupid, insulting. You don't understand how capitalism works. But bosses are the last people to know what's really going on. I trust people to understand what they're really doing, or at least if anybody does, they will.
He talks about his bullshit jobs. I love this theory. This is like one of my favorite theories.
I've been doing a sort of research project where I made up a Gmail account called Do I Have a BS Job or What at gmail.com. And I've been advertising on Twitter. I've got about 250 testimonies now. And I have broken them down into 5 basic types. There are flunky jobs, which are basically people who just are there to make someone else look good. A lot of people sitting around offices say they basically don't do anything except pass emails to someone and say, no, that's spam, or, they're just there because if you don't have someone sitting in your desk, you're not actually a real executive. Similar to receptionists at publishing companies where nobody ever calls, they have to be there anyway. Okay, so there's millions of flunky jobs like that. Then you have what I call goons. Goons are people who are basically there to, you don't need them unless somebody else has them. Sort of like armies, right? If nobody had an army, no one would need an army. Same is true of corporate lawyers, telemarketers, all kinds of people like that. So they often say, this is total bullshit. There's no need for this. Okay, that's easy. The next one is, I call them duct tapers. Duct tapers are people who are there to fix a problem that does not need to exist and everybody knows it. It would be sort of like if you have a roof in the house, instead of getting a roofer, put a bucket down and hire someone to empty the water every half hour. A lot of corporations do that. They'll hire someone just to deal with the damage of the fact that something is badly organized because it's easier than fixing the problem. So there's millions of those kind of people. Then there's box tickers. Box tickers are people who are there to allow an organization to say they're doing something that they're not doing. There's a lot of that in government, but corporations increasingly do that too. So one person said, I work at a care home. My job is to do interviews and collect data on what sort of entertainment people would like to have, which I then tabulate and file. And the problem with box tickers, of course, is that it takes up so much time that you could be spending actually doing the thing. He says, I could be entertaining these people, but actually I have to spend 7/10 of my time finding out what they would like to be doing for entertaining and then losing it because nobody cares. All right, so that's a box ticker. And then finally, taskmasters, who are basically middle management. They're people who are there either to supervise people who don't need supervising, which is most of middle management's. People write to me all the time. They say, I'm supposed to be making them work. They'd work all by themselves. I have to pretend I'm doing something, so I make up these numbers and they do box ticking exercises or something. And then also make up new bullshit jobs. There's a lot of people who do that.
A job which is to make up new jobs.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who's basically there to figure out. There are some people that are there to eliminate bullshit jobs, but realize their own jobs are bullshit because they're not actually going to do it. They're just box tickers to make them. So there's one guy who said he worked for a bank where his job is to come up with basically more efficient ways to do things. But in his 15 years, he says he's never seen one of his programs actually adopted because they always figure out it would mean firing someone who's one of their flunkies. And everybody's like, but no, because managers and executives are judged basically by how many people they have working under them. We have a really, really twisted idea of the value of work. There was a time that people thought that work produces something, it is there, everything is all value comes from labor. The labor theory of value is almost universally accepted in the 19th century. But they had a very silly focus on factory work, craftsmen, production. Most work isn't production, right? Most work is caregiving. Most work is maintaining things. As I always say, you make a cup once, right? You wash it 1,000 times. So most work is keeping things the same. It's not recreating things. And they lost that. So it became easy to change the discourse and say, no, production is really created by job creators and wealth producers who are businessmen who come up with the ideas, and you're just a robot doing what you're told. So then the question is, well, how do you make people validate work at all? And so you tell them, well, it's morally good. If you're not if you're a parasite, that's bad, right? You need to be working harder than you want to be at something you don't really like very much, or else you're a bad person, you know? And you have people resenting each other. And so now, increasingly, if work is about self-abnegation, self-sacrifice, and sort of puritanical moral discourse, well, the more you get out of the work personally, the less valuable it is, right? And people actually think like that. You know, they say, well, you know, you're actually making cars, you're teaching children, you want benefits too? I mean, that's, you know, there's this idea if you're getting something out of the work, they probably shouldn't pay you at all, but they certainly shouldn't pay you as much. So in a weird paradoxical way, even the knowledge that you're producing something has come to be seen on some unconscious and sometimes conscious level as subtracting from the value of the job rather than adding to it.
So production itself.
I mean, this is so clearly explained by California politics, right? This is California politics in a nutshell, right? Like, nothing. You have all this tax money, the wealthiest state and the wealthiest country, and they don't produce anything. They can't build one railroad from Los Angeles to San Francisco in fucking 20 years. But they sure can put out a lot of environmental impact studies. They can sure have a lot of community hearings. They sure can do a lot of worthless make work bullshit. They could plan to plan, but God forbid you put one steel fucking line in front of another. You pour 1 yard of concrete. God fucking forbid you actually complete a project of any human worth. Oh, you want to have a bench? That'll be $1 million, please. I could go to Home Depot and pick up $2,000, and I could go in and install a bench at a bus stop. But in fucking Los Angeles, California, that costs you $500,000 fucking dollars. I could do it in one fucking day. This is America in a nutshell. And this is why it's already over. It's already over.